Hey people, it's Paul. I want to show you one thing about the law of the heir. Here in Galatians 3, verse 15. Brethren, I speak in terms of human relations, even though it is only a man's covenant, yet when it has been ratified, no one sets it aside or adds conditions to it. Now, you see next to the word in terms is a number 1. Next to the word covenant is a number 2. 3 is down by conditions, okay? These are notes we're going to look at. And then we'll look at a couple different translations. So in verse 15, note number 1 is literally according to man. Literally according to man. And note number 2 is a will or a testament. This is what we are talking about here, people. According to man, specifically a will or a testament that has been ratified. So if we read that again, brethren, I speak according to man, even though it is only a man's will or testament, yet when it has been ratified, no one sets it aside or adds conditions to it. Now, real quick, I'm going to look over, we'll read it out of the Amplified Version. Over here in verse 15 says, to speak in terms of human relations, brethren. You see, that's not effective, human relations. That could mean anything. We're speaking in regard to man, according to man. And we'll see King James says after. To speak in terms of human relations, brethren, if even a man makes a last will and testament, a merely human covenant, no one sets it aside or makes it void or adds to it when once it has been drawn up and signed, ratified, confirmed. King James, what's he say? Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant. Let's read that with will and testament. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's will or testament, yet after it be confirmed, what was the other word? Ratified. No man disannulleth, which I think is a double negative, because annul means to strike, right? Reverse, cancel it. So what would disannul mean? See, that's just stupid wordcraft. No man disannulleth or addeth thereto. You don't add to it or take away from it. See? Now it's speaking of the will of a man. Upon his death, his will is ratified upon the death of the testator, and even in the case of men, that becomes law. It may not be changed. It may not be canceled or added to. You see? Now we're talking about the will of the heir, an expressed trust of him whose it was to express. Where is, what were we going to look at? Back to New American Standard. If it be only a man's will or testament, yet when it has been ratified, and we are speaking of a will of the heir, who is the Son of God, whose will was expressed, and it was ratified in blood upon the death of the testator. As such, that is the law of the universe, universal law. As one law common to heaven and earth, i.e. universal, you could say that is the common law, common to all, applicable to all. One new law. Brethren, I speak in terms of the dealings of men, even though it is only a man's will or testament. Yet when it has been ratified, no one can set it aside or add conditions to it. Wait till you see this word conditions. Or a codicil. A codicil. The law of the heir may not be codified, and it may not be set aside, it may not be annulled, and it may not be codified. And what is this, people, we're talking about? Let's look at that one law. John 13:34 tells us what? 13:34. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. So there it is, the law of the heir. One and new. Issued by who makes all things new, appropriately, a new law. So there were 10 commandments, which they found impossible to keep. And, in fact, there were 603 when you count all of the statutes and ordinances. So here we are in the new will, the New Testament, under the law of the heir, which is one, that you love one another as I have loved you. That applies to every man in every place. Therefore, it is the common law. Now let us turn over to James chapter 2. And actually we'll look at one verse in chapter 1 verse 25. Where are you? Look. But one who looks intently at the perfect law. Notice that's not laws, it's one. The, singular, i.e. common, law of freedom. You can look that one up in your Strongs. Freedom we're talking about. And abides by it, having not become a forgetful hearer, but an effectual doer. This man shall be blessed in what he does. There's what? Looks intently at the perfect law. The law of freedom. What else is it called, this one law? Listen, my beloved brethren, did not God choose the poor of this world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom? See why the law of the heir, Galatians 3:15, applies, is important in understanding the good news. The law of the heir is the good news, and it is all good news, and it's all good, and it's all new. To be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he promised to those who love him. But you have dishonored the poor man. Is it not the rich who oppress you and personally drag you into court? Look at that, personally even. How true. Do they not blaspheme the fair name by which you have been called? If, however, you are fulfilling the royal law. Now it's called the royal law. According to the scripture, which is what? You shall love your neighbor as yourself. See? So speak and so act as those who are to be judged by the law of freedom. This is why we are our brother's keeper, because we are all equally free. So we're pointing out this one new command or law is the royal law, the highest law, the perfect law, the one law of freedom for all. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That's the law of the heir. That is the common law. That's the law of the universe. And we are the heirs because we are no longer children. who are no longer children, but are, what's this? And what's this? All right, it's all good stuff. Enjoy.